Anyway, I'll do a thing on that today. Hi, everybody. Kelly and I are back here again, and today we're going to discuss a new kind of meditation technique. I found there's a lot of different ways that I can meditate. A lot of times, just working with the cards or working with the things I do. I do know that when I build a grid, that I'm like in another space. I cannot build a grid and do a reading on the same day. Like if I work this today, I'm going after here to the rock shop because I have a grid I absolutely have to finish. And uh, I couldn't find the right stones last time I was there. So they tell me some new stones are in. So I'm going to go get my stones and I'll have all the stones here and I'll be able to do that tomorrow. But so hi everybody. Who's in the chat? I'm not even looking at the chat.
I see Esther G is here.
Right.
Hello, Esther.
And so what we're going to do today is first of all, I found that a lot of mindfulness meditations, I have at night, I like the ones with words. The music just doesn't do it for me. Hi, Trostash.
Hi, Jerry.
And I'm always looking for new ways because besides doing the normal readings I do, designing the items I design, I also have a set of people that I mentor. And when I say I mentor them, they pay me a monthly fee, and then I'm kind of available for them, not 24 hours a day, and every month we come up with a new
it's like
way.
A Jean hotline.
Yeah, well, they're business people. I mean, they're calling me and asking me about other people are working with and are their impressions right. And usually it's just to verify that they're okay, and also to talk about how to build a better work life for themselves. And sometimes it's family work balance because I have a couple of them that are very high up young to me, women
Right.
women in the early 40s that are very high in corporations, and they need to figure out, get their heads centered about balancing family, jobs, stuff like. Anyway, that's kind of when you hear readers say I have some mentees, that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I had one friend who was an artist, and I helped her figure out how to straighten her life out about being an artist. But anyway, I'm always looking for new techniques for them. And a lot of times I come in and I talk about the new ideas I've got. Hi, JM. I don't think I know you. Please join. um, uh, but what we're trying to do is what I'm trying to do is find different techniques people can use to help focus their subconscious. And sometimes it's just people talking to themselves. That they'll get it through. Yeah, I know. I sometimes I even bore myself. But what we're going to look at today is a technique, and it's called, and I'll put it on the banner so you can see when I'm saying the word, you'll know what I'm saying. Neurographic. If you put neurographic in YouTube, you're going to find a whole lot of different people, different ideas, techniques, but basically it all goes back to the same thing. And the thing it goes back to, it ends up. This is the first one I ever did after I read about it. I have to put it up because I have to put it on the screen, don't I? That would be helpful.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while, it's like a reader who doesn't show up. Okay, there's my paper. And you're saying, well, how'd you do that? That's just it's like a scribble, but it is a scribble, but it's a very systematic scribble.
See, now I think that looks like 3 Academy Awards. Or a person, a female,
who wears triple D's.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to say that. What I was going to say is she actually looks like she is, she's got like a bow and arrow.
Oh, yeah. That's true. That's the arrow that's going up that way. Yeah. But see, that arrow is a mistake, and I'll explain that. What happens is you start off, and I hope I explained this properly for you. You start off and you just create a sheet with a lot of scribbly lines on it like that, right?
Yeah.
And
well, you have to set your intention first.
Oh, no, we've got it on we didn't put it on. It was on the other piece of paper that was underneath it. That's why I have you here, Kelly.
I'm happy.
Okay. Yeah. What you do is, the first thing you do is you say, why am I drawing this? And in this time, it was for Kelly and I. We decided it was actually Kelly's thing. It was to get motivated. I'm so motivated from doing this stuff, I can't stop. But anyway, and then after you decide you want to get motivated, you get calm and quiet, not like in front of a microphone and a bunch of people, like 22 people that are watching you. But you start at the bottom and you just start drawing lines. Just wherever you want, however you want to have them. And you're supposed to take them out to the edge of the page. And I'm trying to be careful because this is my reading mat. Anyway, then you come up at the other end and you just start a squiggle, 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 squiggle down. And then you can come across and make like a circle that's intersecting it all. And there's even some where people just draw straight lines across. What you create when you do that is you create a lot of places where the lines intersect. And where the lines intersect, it's what they call rounding it off. You fill that in with a little U like that. And you fill all of them in, including these, which seem kind of broad, but they all need to not be little square corners. And you do that all over the whole page. And once you start doing this, it gets real hard to stop. But that's when I found, when I got into the kind of that level of detail and was looking at it, that's when I really started to let go of my mind, let go of what's consciously going on around me. And you start filling all those little spots in. And after you do that, and see, this one is one where I just filled it in and decided to make some of the lines thicker. But the first time I did it, like I left this one open, that should not be like that. That should be like this. And this one is like completely weird. I don't know why I put that arrow on there, but I did. And so I'm leaving it there because it's kind of, it's
well, may I interrupt you for a second? Sure. You said that that one that you did, your intention was to get organized, right?
No, this one is get organized.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that one was, what was the intention on the one with the arrow? Do you remember?
It was to learn how to do the technique. It's got nothing to, there was no intention written on the back.
Well, because what I think is interesting is, what does an arrow mean, right? An arrow means forward motion, mm-hmm. means movement, means taking a step ahead, means progress. Sometimes like green light go kind of idea. Mm-hmm. And I think that the arrow is very telling, even though you may view it as that wasn't supposed to be there.
Well, I was just trying something out.
Yeah, I think it's really cool.
So, yeah, well, thank you. So I did that one, and then I thought, this is kind of cool. And so then I did a big one, and I just happened to have some alcohol markers. Do this in a well-ventilated room.
I thought you were going to say, I just so happen to have some alcohol. It's like, what?
Well, that I also have, but that had nothing to do with this. This is not inspired by vodka, gin, whiskey, anything. So what I did is I kind of made it, and then I got out these alcohol markers, and I filled it all in, and when I do it and I first look at it, I go, well, that's a mess. And then I walk away, and then I come back and it looks so much better.
Yeah.
And your own mind, I mean, you literally, I just take red ones and say, okay, I'm going to put red here, and I'm going to put purple here. Now, some people will work with 1 or 2 tones of a color. Yeah. I happen to have a lot of watercolors because I decided to start watercoloring again. And the second one I did do watercolor, but what's cool about this, I didn't realize that I had 2 pieces of paper on top of each other. And when I took that one away, this is like the subconscious view of this. And when I look at the 2 of them, and it's really the same thing, but it's not. This is like shades of that one, which got me into I ended up writing a whole journal entry about shades of what you say out loud.
Yeah.
And then what's heard behind, and that was just, I mean, it to me, this thing opens up all kinds of happy accidents, and I love happy accidents.
Me too. But I was gonna say something when you were saying before about, once you get started with it, that it just sort of, it like took on a whole situation on its own.
Mm-hmm.
I've been saying for years, and I'm not saying because I said it that means it's so, but I am a firm believer that if you have trouble quieting your mind, as I do, or used to, I'm owning that, friends. I'm owning that, as I used to. I was taught a long time ago in therapy to take up a creative pursuit or something that you're passionate about. Because once you sort of focus in on that creative endeavor, you're actually enabling your mind to clear out. It may not necessarily be the thing that you need to clear out, but you're clearing out your mind, you're getting rid of the clutter, and you're really focused on creating something. The joy that you bring to yourself when you create a project, in addition to the ability to clear out your mind, takes you totally to a whole new mindset, like literally transports you. It's almost as effective as like a visualization thing, I think.
Right.
That's my experience anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so when I went looking later, that's when I found the lady who said, write what you want to do with this. And for me on this one, it was to get organized. It was, yeah, see, there it is, the written proof. And so what I did is I just started drawing lines. And this one I had taped down to a board because I was going to use it's watercolor paper, and I was going to put watercolor underneath it. And I drew my black lines, and then I filled them all in and got my shapes together. And then I got out, and I had just gotten a new tin of paints, and I don't know if the effect will come through, but that thing that sort of looks like an onion, it's in a shiny blue. If you see that in real life, you can see it up here. You see this one's shiny. There were blues and greens that were very iridescent, and so I wanted to use them. So I started with them, and then I filled in with the other colors. And some things were happy mistakes because this ended up not really kind of being the color I wanted.
Right.
And
it's beautiful.
So what I did is I got a paper towel out and smushed it up, and I went, oh, I like that much better. So each time I'm doing it, I'm learning new techniques that help me with my watercolor. And if you're, so to me, it's like if you're one of those people, and I hear it all the time from clients, I can't sit in a corner and meditate. I can't say Om. It's just not going to work. Here's another suggestion for something for you to look at and think about. And you don't have to have a lot of fancy schmancy coloring things. You got a kid at home or grandchild, and you can find their crayons. Grab the crayons and fill it in if you want color. I've also seen, if you go and look at if you type in neurographic in that, looking for something on YouTube, you will get a ton of things. And apparently it was a big deal 3 or 4 years ago because there's a whole lot of them. Right. But there's been some in the last couple months where people have said mindfulness in art, and they also lead you to some other techniques. But
I think it would be a lovely, so sometimes it's just the action. So, you need to meditate. This is a method of meditation. And people are like, oh, I can't meditate. I don't know how. And then like they sort of dismiss it or walk away from it without really trying. So perhaps this is something that you could do. So Valentine's Day is coming up. So maybe you want to write a note to your neighbor, and let them know, that you care about them and how much you appreciate their neighborliness. Maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's a family member. You could turn that into a lovely card, right?
Yeah,
like cover of a card.
And you can buy cardstock in stacks dirt cheap, and some even they even sell them with the matching envelopes at Michael's, or that's Michael's or Joann's are here. I don't, since you're in Canada, I have no idea.
Yeah, Michael's. We have Michael's here too.
Okay. They actually came out of Fort Worth, so a bit of Texas. And
really? Canada. I didn't know that.
It was called MJ Designs. Then the Michael broke away from the J, which was the father. It was a long lawsuit. That's the only reason I knew it started here.
Interesting.
When we all start suing each other that we find out. But you can go back and like afterwards, if something doesn't look exactly right, you can go back with the black and fill in the thicker lines. You don't have to use color. Like I saw, there was one woman who just used some colored pencils of shades of gray and black, and then she'd fill it in with stripes instead of form. But all I can tell you is I got a bee in my bonnet about this, tried it out once and found out, wow, that was really kind of fun. I enjoyed it. Then I went back and really studied the rules of the road for how to do it.
Right.
And Yeah, that was one of the things I was thinking about doing, is getting the right card side or cutting my watercolor stock to card size so I could make them for people for thank you notes and things. And then
I love
then
that.
you can use it. You can use it for your therapy, because I don't have that many places in my house to hang things. And or you can keep them as a memory book. This is when I was here. And the other thing that happened about this is, after I did the get organized, after I'd finally finished it and it was on the drawing board, I walked out and I went in the kitchen and I did a couple things and came back and looked at that. And it was in the middle of my office, and looked at my office, and all of a sudden, what I lovingly call my garage sale that I've built up in the last 2 years, um, I decided how I needed to organize it. So that's what the technique I'm talking about. It's called neurographic art. If it woke something up in you, fine. If you went, and trust me, you do not have to have any great artistic skills or any understanding of color, because what you're going to bring forward is your understanding of color. But I'm going to get rid of the table. Bye-bye table.
Bye-bye table.
I went to the wrong place. I'm not going to ban you from the studio table.
You never know.
I'm going to remove you from the stream. And we're going to go to questions, because we did get 3 or 4 people who had interesting comments. And put your questions in caps, which I've got running at the bottom of the screen. Ellen watches us frequently, and she said, I'm wondering if after my issues resolved, and what she had is she got MRSA, and they caught it in time, and so she's at home with the wound healing out, it's gross. But anyway, will I need to push forward with the ideas I've had? Am I going to need to change it up regarding my channel and other ideas? So basically she's wanting to know is she's not going to worry about it now, because she and I have talked about this. She's going to heal, and then should she go forward? So that's what we're reading on, Kelly.
Okay.
Is should she go forward with her ideas? And she claims, she said, when I was talking to her Saturday, she said, my problem was I asked the universe to get all of this goof that I felt running through my body out of me. She said, I didn't need it to do it this literally.
Right.
And I hope everybody's weather's warming up. We had a couple long, cold, rainy days, but today it's going to be in the 60s again. So
I don't even want to talk about the temperature here.
I know.
It's like up and down like a toilet seat. It's crazy. I'm sorry for the visual about the toilet seat.
I'm going to add it to the stream so you can see my cards. Oh.
That's an interesting card.
I'm doing the 5 cards this way so I don't have to screw with the camera and make people who have vestibular problems want to barf. Okay. This is really great for you. It says that this, in the past, this is getting you out of a prison you were in. So I think some of that healing is coming from internally. Yeah, it shook your bridge, man. It really threw you into the tower time. You ended up, I know, in the hospital for at least 2 or 3 days. Long time, lots of different things going on. But this is the bridge of despair. And when it's reversed, it means you're getting off of it.
Yep.
You're finally moving away from it. You're going to find a way to more balance your life. Yep. More balance your life. And you're going to be able to, and you're going to still be able to do what you want to do. She's, I don't know if she professes to be a Wiccan, but she uses a lot of natural arts and elemental art and elemental learnings. And yes, that's where you need to go regarding your own ideas. Go your own path.
I got strength and trust. This is from my own little oracle deck, which is just basically a 98 card deck of a bunch of words. But I've got strength, and it reminded me, the pedestal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get back up there on that pedestal, in terms of that you deserve to be on that pedestal and right. To shine, right? To reach
and to trust your own thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're never gonna go with the crowd.
No, The message on the bottom of this surrender card, by the way, says, I can release my need to control. Oftentimes we live in the outcome, and there's nothing wrong with, in 2 years, I want to be here. As long as you don't only reside in that outcome and allow yourself to experience the journey, because sometimes it's the beauty of the journey that is the thing that we are supposed to be learning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where all those little lessons come from. And there's a lot of beauty in it.
Okay, I think that looks good. I think
it's beautiful.
Okay, we're going to hide that question, and we're going to go to, I used to see bright colors, sometimes the dragon's eye, once even Archangel Raphael. I had a ruptured appendix with peritonitis in November, and now I see only darkness when I meditate. Is there a connection between the two? I'm going to see if the darkness is, I'm going to do a 3-card spread if the darkness is caused from your physical illness.
I don't have any tarot cards out. Maybe I should do that, eh?
No, you use your color cards. I think that would be helpful for this one. You were doing much better than I was. I may have done a grid. I may have done a beautiful neurographic drawing of getting organized. Don't let it fool you. False advertising.
So I just pulled one card.
Okay.
Tarot card, that is. Now I'm gonna go to the color cards here. I got the 6 of Cups.
Okay.
So thinking about how things used to be, living, sort of holding on to how things used to be. I feel, right? Wanting to go back to that moment or to that happy place.
What I got in the past, this is your past, this is your present, and this is your future. And it's really that, sort of like what you're saying, there was so much to accomplish, but you had a very detailed plan and you were watched over by someone very kind. But basically, you're like the Knight of Pentacles. You're riding your horse and being very efficient doing it.
Yeah.
And then now you're at a turning point because some of the goals you had, I don't think it was just the illness from the appendicitis. What did you get? Right. I think that some of it is that you're between two spaces and you can't picture which one you're going to. So you're locked in the tweens. You're locked in that funny in between. And that's kind of where you are right now. But what I see is in the near future, this situation you've put yourself in doesn't serve you. Release your attachment to an outcome and consider taking a more uplifting approach. Right?
Creativity.
It woke up something in you, and it could have been being ultimately vulnerable, getting sick like that. And there's your appendix who's supposed to be your friend, and the peritonitis will throw your body for a resolution too. The other thing to think about is how are you medicated afterwards? How were you treated? And I just went through this week. I finally got my DNA report of how meds affect my body. And there's 3 columns. There's a column that says that's really good, use it. It has efficacy with you. Then there's a yellow column, which is used with great caution. And then they have all these footnotes telling them how to use it.
Right.
And then there's the darker column that just says, don't take this. This is like really, 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 really bad for you.
Right.
And I have about 3 pages that have things in the good column. This thing's 37 pages long.
Wow.
Then I got a bunch of stuff in the yellow column. And then I got a bunch of stuff I have some that are very clear warnings not to use. And some of those are medicines. I've had friends use them. If after their experiences, I wouldn't use them. I think it's just a med.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I pulled these two color cards, and I
Black.
got Auburn, which is ground yourself, and then Black, which says find richness from the dark night.
Right.
There's a lot of people that get power from that time of night. Like it's very quiet, very serene, very peaceful, and like there's not a lot of noise. And that creativity card, I don't know. I keep looking at this and saying to myself, considering what you were showing us earlier, with that form of meditation, that maybe to express herself through a creative process
Right.
such as that could really sort of lift her out of the how do I get back to where I was?
Well,
And just enjoy the where you are.
And give your body really time to heal, because one of the worst things for me, and this is for entertainment purposes only, because everybody's very different. What's difficult for me is the medicines that I shouldn't take. It's not that they do too much, it's my body doesn't metabolize them out, so they stay. So you may have some medicine that stayed in your body. It will work its way out, but you need to you're just at a point where it's kind of a make a decision time, and it may be start to do working with things that are in color, and do, like Kelly says, do something really creative. Maybe that will help you break that little part of your brain loose, and then it all can come flooding back, or come back and
it'll make you happy.
Right.
Expressing yourself through color, looking at color. Go put a pink t-shirt on, or a sunny yellow t-shirt, or an orange t-shirt. All of those colors, they're bright, they're uplifting, and they just make you happy. We got some questions in the chat.
Okay, I got one more that's wrote in, and we're going to do her.
Genealogy Junkie said, Aunt Nancy Jean, they use tiny magnetic beads to extract the DNA from the sample and interrupt that as proof we are made of energy. That
it is all in. I have one of my best friends is the guy who owns the company that invented this. He did not invent it. He's a company owner, but he had, from the person who interpreted my chart for me, was one of the scientists who developed this technology that's here in Dallas. And he's a medical doctor who worked on it. And anyway, he made it really plain to me that more people are not poisoned, but they just are overexposed to the dosages they create. But anyway, and he didn't know how old I was, and that my hair was real purple that day. And he said, well, you probably aren't aware of this, but people after 65, when a person gets to 70, we usually find they're taking 16 different meds. And the first thing they do with this personalized medicine is they knock out all the ones that you really shouldn't take. And I looked at my friend. I said, Andre, do you want to tell him, or am I going to tell him? And Andre said, I'll tell him. And he said, she's 73. And he said, no. And he said, and you take an aspirin every day? He told me I don't need to take an aspirin every day because I have the gene that eats cholesterol. Don't ask me how it works, but I for as bad as my cholesterol might get, and it has the indicators it could get high. I've got the thing that, like the big Hoover in the sky, that goes through and cleans it out. Okay. KJ. And I had to really trim KJ's things down, and I'll fill it in a little bit. But after chemo, I didn't see colors anymore. After listening, when she was meditating, after listening to meditative music, I started seeing them again. Then they felt that her heart had been damaged from the chemo. So they did a test to check her heart. I kept seeing a very purpley pink the whole time they were doing the test. Mm-hmm. And she said, despite the fact they had other indications, her heart is totally normal. And so I think your higher power was just filtering in as fast as it could through your crown chakra. But how do we want to come up with a question like this, other than blessings to you, KJ, for having gone through all that?
Absolutely.
I'm going to do my fun cards. I'm going to do my fairy tale cards. I'm going to do...
I was going to say just like I honestly just want to see what I get.
Okay.
See if it makes sense. Tammy Jackson is saying, I'm going to totally mispronounce this, aphantasia is the inability to create mental imagery.
Yeah, that would make sure. That makes sense. It's like amnesia, where you can't think of where you came from. Okay, what does KJ need to know?
Yeah. Interesting card.
Oh, it's really interesting. I did a 6-card reading for you. It shows that your cancer came out of energetically, other than you ran into whatever makes cancer. Your cancer came out of just a whole lot of early disputes in your life, and it was a really cleansing experience. There was a long time where you didn't feel very attached to anything and you felt very abandoned. But this cancer freed you from that because you had people gather around and really help you. And you always disliked being sort of patted on the head and treated like a little kid. And you walked into your own power through this, going through this experience and being healed. And now you're in the process of making a whole new foundation for yourself. That looks great.
Wow.
What'd you get?
Okay. So the first card that came out is consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The second card that I got was strength again.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to the Soul's Journey Oracle, which is similar to your sacred geometry.
Mm-hmm.
The first card I've got is grief. And I love this image because it reminds me of like a Spanish sort of Moroccan sort of tile.
Right.
The message on the bottom of this card says, I understand that losing something is an opportunity to appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So, in terms of, and I'm not saying that that she didn't appreciate that she's seen color before, but maybe not in the way that she was supposed to, if that makes sense. And now that she's had this, now she's like hyper aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
The last card that I got, we have death. Now, the message on the bottom of this card says, I am learning that endings are merely beginnings.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, so it makes me feel like the scare, the worry, the fear of being diagnosed and going through this situation has it makes total sense that it's obviously changed your perspective and your way of thinking and your appreciation for things, and I think that you're literally like, I want to pull one more card, but I literally feel like you're in the middle of like a transformational kind of thing, right? You're going to come out with a whole new approach to things. Just let me pull one more card. Hi, Ivana.
Okay.
Look at that. Look at that beautiful card. It's
I love that
and
card.
It says regenerate your body.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, I feel like these cards are saying this is your opportunity to sort of like right a wrong, correct course, shift perspectives, have a new understanding, and things will not be the same as they were, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? Don't be afraid of the change or the moving forward. And I think that's pretty inspiring.
Yep. Okay.
I find KJ really inspiring for asking that question and for going through all that she did.
Well, and I think we need to know that sometimes major illnesses are points for us to move forward in it.
Absolutely.
And speaking of what's for me would be a major transformation, would doing the coloring with your non-dominant hand accelerate the process? Yes, very likely, because then you're really drawing from the unconscious part. I tried to do one. I'm sorry, I just had people coming through my door, which never happens during the day, and it did. They're supposed to be here, so don't call the cops.
Yeah.
Yes, using your non-dominant hand always can accelerate the process because you're building different neurologic paths through your brain by forcing your hand to do something it doesn't maybe want to do.
Yeah.
A lot of times, if I'm really stuck, I'll have 3 stones that I could put in a grid, and any one of them would really work there. I will use my left hand to pick the stone.
Beautiful.
So that's the one time I do my. That's why I know about my non-dominant hand. But yes, Donna, that's a great question. Yes, the answer is yes.
Donna also wrote in the chat just now, I recently bought colored pencils and markers and will definitely try this new technique. I have heard using non-dominant hand stimulates right side of brain, which is sort of connection to her question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you bring that up about choosing your stones sometimes with your left hand, because there are some tarot readers that will cut the deck with their left hand if that's their non-dominant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you take your dominant hand and you sort of like tap on it to sort of, shift the energy or switch the energy or absorb the energy, however which way you want to say it, which I just thought it was interesting. Sorry.
No, Tammy, I don't know what. Do you know what SSD is?
No.
Okay, we're just going to see if you should try it, because this is going to be a completely blank reading, girl, because I have the biggest idea what you're talking about. I'm going to do yes, no on it.
Timmy, pop it in the chat what SSD is.
Maybe a sort of training course on something. I don't know. What's SSD?
I feel like it's some kind of training therapy-ish kind of something.
Sort of stuff our people do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should definitely pursue it in the future. It showed you.
You're saying Social Security disability.
It shows that for a while you were very comfortable, but you could never get connected with the right people, and you don't feel that you have the power to get it, but it shows that it is a goal for you that's achievable. But this is the 8 of Cups reverse, and the 8 of Cups is like I'm out of here card.
Yeah,
I think you're going to have to get much better description of what your basis for your SSD is.
Yeah. I just pulled some of my own Oracle card or Oracle cards. I'll tell you what I got while I'm shuffling this one. I got investments, and I've got job. But then I've got the sun that's come out. And I've got the Empress that's come out. And so what I want to say is this, that if you invested in it and you meet the criteria for it, it could change your situation or change sort of, your overall. But the Empress, right? So what is that? It's nurturing, it's healing, it's, the shield, and it's sort of protecting yourself. So I say that if this is what you think that you should do, then you need to really sort of like treat it like a job, like get on the phone, write the letters, like, you know what I mean? Like, don't stop.
Right. If you run into a case like that, it is your job. It's your job, because there's nobody who's going to jump out of the woodwork at those parts of the government and say, this is how it works, unless you're extremely fortunate and get an interesting person.
Yeah.
I had an income tax thing once, and it wasn't my fault. It was the company I processed my taxes through. And it was when I was switching houses and stuff, and it was a real mess. And the only person in that whole thing that was consistently absolutely lovely was a wonderful woman in Tennessee who worked for the IRS, who got my package. And she just she said, we know you're going to sell your house. We're going to be able to get whatever we feel we need to collect from you at that point. So don't you worry about it. You just taking care of your house and getting your stuff in order. I mean, they made a huge mistake, and I ended up owing the IRS $10,000. It was not a little bit of money, but the tax company that I filed through, because it was error in their software, they paid all the interest and penalties, which would have been, I know. Anyway, Mad Who, I sent you an email yesterday. My records show that you've gotten your garden. So if you haven't gotten your garden, get back to me and let me know. Okay. I don't see color. Oh, I'm reading it on the screen here, which none of you can see. Oh, I don't see colors, but I feel pressure in my third eye. I try to imagine colors, but sometimes I do, but most times I don't. Could you please tell me what it is that's obstructing my progress? I take it you mean colors when you're meditating, because if you don't see colors all day long, I assume you've talked to someone about it.
Mm.
So let's see.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's an interesting question.
Mm-hmm. I don't always see colors when I meditate. I don't always see colors when I dream. Sometimes I do. Pay more attention to the ones that are in Technicolor, I tell you that much.
I often don't dream in color.
Mhm.
So when I do, it like really stands out.
Right. Okay.
Madhu says yes while meditating.
Okay, good. I'm asking if you will ever be able to see colors in your meditations. It may be that you're just like Kelly and I. Sometimes it's black and white, and sometimes it's Technicolor.
It's an interesting secondary question. I wonder if it does it matter? Does it
No.
what does that mean if you dream in color versus only in black and white?
We can do that one for her afterwards. But what I got is 3 yeses and three no's. And yes, you in your when you're dreaming in color, you're dreaming about an old past life that you were very inspired by.
Get out! Look at that! Look at
Dreaming, yes, very good. And then the next thing in the past is when an image is being handed to you, you don't like, you blank the color out. And that's a way that you stop yourself from having to be motivated by it to go out and do something. No, wait a minute, I read that wrong. You should be dreaming in color. You black it out when you don't want to see it. And the further you get into your studies and your meditations, that your dreaming will become much more vivid. Right now, it's pulled back because there's parts of your dreams you don't want to see that clearly, and when you only see it in black and white, you don't focus on it that well. But as you get further into your spiritual growth and development, Manu, you'll be able to see colors more vividly. Maybe not 100% all the time. The reason you're not seeing colors is this past life is blocking you from seeing something that you're not supposed to remember right now.
Yep, totally agree. I got happiness,
mm-hmm.
and I've got trust. Then I've got the dreaming card,
mm-hmm.
and then I've got family, which is interesting because that's traditions, nostalgia, right? Unconditional love, strong bonds, all of those things that you were just talking about. In terms of something from the past sort of blocking you and sort of not allowing you, or you not allowing yourself to see it as it actually is, and that's totally okay, right? You'll lift the block when you're able or when you're ready. There are things that you can do to help you if you have a block, like you can do a releasing ceremony or a forgiveness ceremony. Journal work, mirror work, all of those things help to sort of lift those blocks, right? Yeah. I pulled a card from the mini chakra love deck, and I've got from the solar plexus chakra, and Mukite is the stone that they mention, and it says shine. You are made of stardust, so keep sparkling. So
Mukite comes from a specific stream bed in a specific area of Australia, and it's the weirdest kind of agate. It has colors no other agate has.
Yeah. So I think, just in closing, Madhu, that if you allow yourself to start to, I want to say, love yourself as well as lift the block, I think that things will start to appear in a more colorful way for you.
The other tip I have for Madhu, and I just got it, and I'm not one of those people who goes, I just got a hit. But I smelled overwhelmingly. I use a roller ball that has oils in it that help you sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And if you use more aromatherapy, you'll be able to wake up more of those deeper. So you might go, if there's a place near you that does aromatherapy, and go in and try different fragrances, and one of them's going to knock your socks off. But it's also, maybe, like I said, I still don't dream in color all the time. And I know there are people who dream that's just how they came in. And
Yep.
it's usually, I'll remember I saw that in black and white earlier when it finally is supposed to come through.
Interesting. Linda has a question at 143.
Okay, I've got one more that I want to talk about. We already talked about it. I recently bought, Donna, you've got my email. It's in the body of the description below, as is how to reach Kelly. So if you wouldn't mind taking a picture and just snapping it and emailing it to me, so I can see the kind of, I spent a lot of time doing this show, and I want to make sure at least one other person was affected by it, other than my kids going, Mom, what's the stuff on the table? Okay, where am I now?
Linda at 143. 143, your time.
I'm getting there. You with your quick little minds, you don't understand. It's like getting old.
Hello to everyone in the chat. Thank you for being here. Please don't forget to give a thumbs up to Nancy Jean.
Yes.
And of course, Sharon Sipe has been kind enough to put all of our descriptions and websites and all kinds of good things in the chat. So make sure you go check out Nancy Jean's website.
Okay, Linda. Okay. I don't know if you saw last Tuesday's show when Jeffrey did crystal healings. He talks a lot about clearing out chakras. I think you have a slight block on your third eye, and there's something it's protecting you from. It thinks it's protecting you from. Maybe once it's like, like little kids. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to look at it. There's some part of you that's got something trying to come in. It doesn't want to look at, and it may be because it's afraid you won't understand it. I get a feeling there's some confusion with some of the things you see through your third eye. Because my third eye is just a mess, and I usually use an F up mess. But but if you can meditate and then do one of the chakra clearing meditations that's on YouTube, and they go through each one. And I usually start at the root chakra, and I'm not sure what it says to me by the third eye because I'm asleep. But you can start at the top and move down, then it'd be only the second one. But a lot of people, Dr. Gail, who's in the chat, she opened up someone's third eye for them. And the woman was someone I know, and she said, I've had a headache ever since she did that. And it just took her a while to be used to having a third eye be open. So maybe your third eye is trying to protect you from something.
Yep.
What did you get, Kelly?
I got crazy cards. So I hope that this makes sense, Linda, to you. I've got the Four of Wands, which is normally a celebration, but it's a community. It's the coming together. It's family. Oftentimes it's about celebration, but sometimes it's about a support system, right? Our soul tribe, as it were. Next, I've got Justice coming out. So fairness, karma, trying to sort of realign the equilibrium, right? The scales. And then I've got the Temperance card. So again, control, moderation, balance. And on the bottom of the deck, I've got the Nine of Wands. So I don't know if you've had some kind of issue in the family or with friends. I feel it's family, not friends, but I don't know if you've had some sort of
she has an inheritance issue.
Okay, well then,
and she's trying to remove herself from the drama.
Okay,
but their power is really close. So she's got the Ace of Michael coming up. So I think it's not going to last that much longer. It's going to move along, or Or maybe this could also be, I don't know if you know much about cords. Cords are also a way we're tied to people.
Yeah.
So Linda, if you're too tied into some family drama, call in Archangel Michael and get just a peaceful place. You don't have to be completely zonked out, and just ask him to take his sword of truth and cut the cords that don't serve you, and have them go above and below, to the left, to the right, to the front, to the back. Now, if you picture a big sword going around, that means it's going to clear out the whole box around you, and you may actually feel a cord being broken. That can happen. Or the other thing I find interesting when I tell people to do that, they say the person they're inappropriately attached to usually tries to reach out to them shortly thereafter, which will give you a big idea.
I got justice, temperance, and balance. So
yep.
Maybe the discomfort, I'm going to use that word discomfort, is being caused because it's trying to sort of, spirit's trying to sort of rein you in terms of you being sort of off kilter about it. So I think what Nancy Jean said is an excellent idea. Ask Archangel Michael to assist.
Hi, Nana and Bro. You need to get in touch with me about the grid you wanted, or I think you're getting it as a gift for someone. Just let me know what's going on, because you're the only outstanding invoice I have. I mean, she's paid it. I owe her. Yeah. That's not your question. Am I on the right path with how I'm dealing with my loved ones? Now, there's not a loaded question.
No. Linda, I'm very sorry for your loss.
Oh, did she type something below that?
She said, yes, our family kind of broke after my son's suicide.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Was your son a fire sign, Linda? Is he a Leo, an Aries, or a Sagittarius? Because I had the King of Wands. I go underneath the deck sometimes, like the card that's sitting on the bottom of the deck. I kind of go down a couple of cards, and the King of Wands was under there. So I don't know if he was a fire sign or not, but someone that is a King of Wands is going to offer you a level of like friendship or support, I think. You may know who that person is. Nana and Bro, am I on the right path with how I'm dealing with loved ones?
Absolutely.
He was a Leo.
Okay, then that makes sense.
Yeah.
This is in the far past. You feel like you so planted and so enthused yourself and got so involved with all your family things, and it led you into being very depressed because you weren't getting back what you were giving. But it says, are you on the right path now? Absolutely. You're very careful about how you share and how you love and who you share with, and you will move on from any relationship that doesn't serve you, and that's good. That's your learning, what we're all learning at this point in the universe, how to separate and how to be our own person. And look at your out card, girl. You got the sun. You got that cute little baby on a horse. So, yeah, you're doing everything right. You're going from being in the moon where you gave too much to being in the sun where you keep a balance and take care of yourself.
I didn't know you got the moon card. I got the moon card, too. I got the moon card. Then I got the Three of Pentacles, which is, working with others in collaborations, partnerships, that kind of thing. I've got the Three of Wands. So goals, expansion, planning, it's almost like that dream is right there. I can almost snatch it. I got the King of Cups on the bottom of the deck. And below the King of Cups, I've got the Strength card. So if the King of Cups represents the person that you may be having difficulty with, I think that you're past it in terms of whatever the difficulty was that started the situation. And again, you all just heard how many times I shuffled that, right? I got balance.
Again, yeah. I think this whole session is about balance, and that makes sense with the meditative technique we're looking at is how do we find balance within ourselves.
Yeah. I want to pull a color card. Can I pull a color card for
Pull a
everybody?
color card.
You have color cards. Pull one for everybody. Let's pull one.
Okay, secret language of color. It's sitting right here. I just have to roll away for a second.
As long as you roll back, we're good.
Yeah, if I don't roll back, you don't have my phone number because you're in Canada. Dr. Gail, call the kids.
Dr. Gail, call for help.
She knows how to find me. If you've never seen the outside of this box, this is what it looks like.
It's beautiful. I love this deck. Absolutely love it.
Didn't I show it to you when you and I were playing one time? Or did you find it elsewhere?
I don't know where I got it from, but every time I've used it, someone's like, "Oh, that's fascinating. I love it."
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Yes. Woohoo. Look at that. Look at how pretty that is. We have the apricot, and the message on the bottom of the apricot is rejoice and laugh.
And I got green, and you got apricot. And green says this is to revitalize your energy, revitalize your nervous system, heart, circulatory system, the liver, lower your blood pressure, releasing frustration and anger. Meditation and healing are enhanced by green. So go back to drawing them lines, which can also stimulate growth and is good for healing broken bones. Okay, Laura, not a broken bone, but you can heal it. Absorb green rays and revitalize your whole nervous system and your heart. Focus on flooding your nervous system with green rays of light. Direct the light through your whole spine before moving it into your heart. Then rotate the green light around your heart until you feel your heart will expand, relax, and fill up with vitality. This is the meditation for this one. Divine intelligence, please release all the pressure and stress from my heart and nervous system. Fill me up with healing and revitalizing green light. That'll also probably help the lady with the third eye thing.
Absolutely. So apricot is rejoice and laugh. Apricot lightens any heavy or burdensome energy you may be carrying to bring enormous vitality, joy, and zest into your life. Apricot also releases irrational fears and anxieties. It is a color of creativity and fun and intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Now, underneath that, it says, meditate on the color apricot to bring more joy and lightness into your life. Joy. Today is a day for rejoicing. Remind yourself of all the golden moments you have experienced in your life. Find 5 joyful moments in this day. Wear something that is apricot or meditate on this color. Invite joy into your heart. Say, Divine Spirit, please awaken the joy, laughter, and spontaneity of my heart and soul. Boom. My God, that was awesome.
That was
good. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
See, now that makes me happy.
Okay, guys, we're going to close with the big card of the day. Ta-da! Look at whatever you see in it, and please try this technique and see if it works for you. And then let me know, because like I said, mailman was here. We have the loudest mailman. And let me know what happens. And I think in honor of today's lesson, I'm going to pull out my arts and crafts and do another drawing, and maybe one of the ones I started today, maybe the one that you and I started, Get Motivated. And I'm going to do it in shades of green. I have 100 ways to get green. I have green watercolors. I have green watercolor pens. I have green markers. I have all kinds of fun stuff.
Green and apricot.
Green
do you have an apricot color?
I'll throw a big old glob of apricot in there.
Next.
Anyway, you guys go have fun with your life. Try new things. Learn about new things. And by the way, I find this every bit as meditative as when I knit. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Crochet. I crochet, and it's like it solves all the problems, right? It totally relaxes me. And who knows if it's going to work out straight? who really cares? It puts me in a really good spot.
Right. So take care, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Blessings.